Hi there, this is Emily from Local Tasting Tours. I'm here in the Hydrostone Market on Yonge Street, and we're going to be recording the podcast today at Epicurious Morsels. It's been kind of a staple in the Hydrostone here for quite a while. We're here with the owner of Epicurious Morsels, Jim Hanusiak, today, but also the sous chef Jennifer Kilbride Young. Jennifer, I worked with you for years, so it's really nice to kind of come home. I walk by and see how busy you are for brunch. Can you describe a couple of the popular brunch dishes that you've got on board?
Well, my personal favorite is the stuffed French toast. It's a recipe that's been on the menu here for probably a decade or more, and it's really quite special because the stuffing is put inside the French toast, which most places don't do. You often get a lot of toppings, but you don't often get stuffings with it, and it's a really nice way to roll breakfast and dessert all into one, which is popular with me and with a lot of customers.
Epicurious is known for smoked salmon. Do you still have that wonderful appetizer where it's like smoked salmon several ways?
Well, it comes with a trio of smoked salmon. One is a asparagus roll, and then we also have one that's sort of more rich and spicy, which is an avocado rolled inside the salmon, and then we also feature it with Granny Smith apples and caper mayonnaise.
The presentation here is always so wonderful. I remember when I was serving that, you'd set a plate down and people would be like, wow. Do you have fun with the artistic element of putting the plates together?
I do. I especially have a lot of fun with the desserts, where we have a rotating dessert feature. So every week we get to run a new one, and over the years I've really come up with a lot of signature recipes, I think. So I really enjoy the dessert aspect.
And you live up in the North End. What do you think of working and living in the Hydrostone area?
I really love it. I started out in Halifax, living in the South End and working in the downtown area, but I find since I've been in the North End, it's certainly more of a family feel and a lot tighter community, so I enjoy it, yeah.
Our guest today is Jenn Huntley from Lady Luck, which is also in the Hydrostone and has been for a number of years. I was really interested listening to how you and your sister Mel decided to get the shop started, with a focus on jewelry in the beginning.
In the beginning, we knew we were going to do something with jewelry because we were both making jewelry. So it only made sense. But from having done the craft circuits for a number of years before opening a store, we actually got in touch with some of the jewelers who we had collected over the years and that were also local to see if they'd be interested in having their work on display in our store.
I was in the shop today and saw how busy it was for Christmas. I mean, you're kind of ideal for gift ideas.
Well, there really is something for everyone. I mean, we probably carry about 60 local craftspeople's work. 30 of them being jewelers from here in Nova Scotia.
Every time I walk by the shop, I just see hats. It's incredible the number of different styles you have.
With our business plan, we decided to get into accessories as well because we had all this other space to fill, and we started off with one hat tree. And that day, in historic properties at the time, we sold almost every hat off that tree. So we went, okay, we need another hat tree right away. And now we have about 10 hat trees in our store. We probably have over 200 hats at all times, and people now refer to us as the hat store in Halifax, which is really great because hats are kind of like glasses. You might have to try on 20 pair before you find the one that works for you. By having all these different options and styles and colors and textures, people who even don't wear hats have gotten lucky with us, so it's been really fun.
This is a gorgeous plate. When it arrived, we were all saying how the presentation is so beautiful. And this is the lamb shank dish. Actually, maybe I'll get Jim to describe the plate.
This is our lamb shank done Moroccan style. The shank itself has been braised in onions with coriander, cumin, fennel seed, coriander seed, lots of seeds, quite a bit of wine. It's braised in the oven at around 450 degrees for a minimum of 4 hours. What we would do after that is keep the shanks in the liquid overnight, let it cool so the flavors go into the meat, and the rest turns into a pretty thick and delicious sauce. We serve it over a Moroccan couscous with spices and currants and nuts.
Jim, I wanted to ask you kind of how you got started. It was 15 years ago now?
We're 16, yeah.
It started with smoked salmon.
Previous to getting into the food service end of things, I spent about 23 years in the fish farming industry, building hatcheries and cage sites around the Maritimes and in the States for a couple of years. During that time, I was always involved in value-added processing. My real passion was always food, cooking, and originally I opened the restaurant with the idea of a professional kitchen that would cater to existing chefs and caterers if they needed an extra hand. The policies changed with the government, licensing changed, and I was forced to make a change on the fly. And that was just over 16 years ago, and been a very enjoyable, challenging experience over the years.
You've got a lot of regular customers, I know. So Jenn, what do you think of the lamb shank?
It was absolutely incredible. I mean, the meat just fell off the bone. It was so tender. The spice is beautiful. It's not overdone in any way. There was a little sweetness probably with the currants and the couscous, would that be? It was really nice.
I'm looking forward to helping you dig in. Jim, we always wrap up the podcast with a couple of questions. Can you tell me about a favorite childhood food memory? And I vaguely remember from being here that you talked about your grandmother kind of putting on these big spreads.
My father's side of the family is of Polish descent. I can remember back when I wasn't allowed in the kitchen, was always asked to run down and pick up things from the cold room, the ice box. My grandparents in Moncton, they did all their own horseradish, their own sauerkraut, their own sausages, cabbage rolls, borscht, all the traditional foods for Ukrainian fare. Anytime there was a wedding, Christmas or Easter, any of the major holidays, food preparation began 3 days in advance with everybody chipping in, and when the final day arrived, there was a huge spread of food and sweets and everything else, and those kind of memories just sort of stay with me.
Did you have a favorite sweet as a kid?
Anything that had sugar in it, basically.
Jenn, you grew up on the island. Do you have a quick food memory from when you were little?
Well, my family always had a small family reunion every year, which was always full of my grandma's favorites, my mom's favorites, often included many potatoes.
Jenn Huntley, I wanted to ask you if you had a favorite independent business in Nova Scotia that you really enjoy frequenting.
Well, I've just recently, in the last year or so, gotten turned on to the olive oils and balsamic vinegars at Liquid Gold. And I have to say, once you go Liquid Gold, it's very hard to go back. They have these great little testers, and my sister and I went in one day, just tried a few samples, and we've been hooked ever since and turning other people onto it. It's a really neat concept with being able to try before you buy, and really can add to your cooking experience at home in a great way.
I've got my mom some really neat gift packages. It's so fun because you can try a bunch of different things, together. Thank you all three so much for being part of the podcast. I really appreciate it, and thank you for this gorgeous dish. And it was fun too to hear about brunch and what you've got on the go these days. Jenn, how can people reach you if they want to make reservations?
I guess the best way to reach us would be 902-455-0955, and we accept dinner reservations, but it is a first come, first serve for lunch and brunch.
And Jenn, number two, how can people get in touch with you if they want to hear more about what you've got in store for Christmas at Lady Luck?
Well, I guess our Facebook page would be a great way to get some visual eye candy of the types of products that we carry, and that is under Lady Luck Boutique on Facebook. And we're open 7 days a week. We've extended our hours for the holidays till 8 p.m. on Thursday and Friday.
Well, happy holidays to everybody. Thanks again. Don't forget, Local Tasting Tours holiday gift package includes 2 food tour tickets and a box of chocolates. And we do deliver in the HRM if anyone wants to make a gift for a favorite foodie. Again, thanks. This is Emily with Local Tasting Tours. Take a tour, take a bite out of Halifax.